everybody, it's Cassie, and today I'm going to be making a 100% coconut oil soap. I got this recipe out of Natural Soap Making by Jan Berry. So far I've made a total of 3 soaps before this, and all of the recipes I believe have come out of that soap book except for one of them. One of the recipes I've made came out of the Royal Academy, which is from Katie Carson at Royalty Soaps. She gave out a free soap recipe for beginners to try, so I did make that one. If you're interested, I did create a video. I'll go ahead and link it in the description below, as well as have it pop up on the screen, and if you want to check that out as well. So far I've made a 100% lard soap, I've made a Bastille soap, and now I'm making this 100% coconut oil soap. And I made the Bastille soap a second time with a water discount, just because I had a little bit of trouble doing it the first time. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in. So I think this is emulsion. From what I was learning from Lisa at I Dream in Soap, is that it's when your oils don't come apart. I might just be a little bit past emulsion, because she says it will split, but just after a moment or two it'll split. So I'm either at emulsion or I'm at just past it. And she said most people wait too long, because look at the difference between the oil here and the oil here. She said most people don't wait long enough to see what your batter does before they keep pulsing. So I'm just gonna look at it for a little bit and see what it does. So I don't see any oils on the top, and to me it looks like it's mixed really nicely. Oh look, see there, it's starting to split apart right there. So I think it is emulsion. She has a really great video that I watched that talks about what trace is. since I think we're getting close, I'm gonna get my essential oil blend ready. I'm gonna use just 1 fluid ounce of this cold stopper from Woolsey. And it's got rosemary oil, eucalyptus oil, peppermint oil, cypress oil, and lemon oil. So I was reading that some of my oils have a really low flash point. I'll have to go back and look, or I'll just put it at the bottom of the screen. But I'm trying to not soap at such a high temperature because then they'll just burn off. I think the lowest is like 108. So I'm at 96 right now. So I'm trying to soap hot enough to where my coconut oil stays liquid, but not so hot that I burn off my essential oils. And I'm not doing any fancy swirls or anything. I'm making this as a Christmas soap. And I haven't gotten any of my micas in yet, so I'm gonna let it go to like a medium thick trace before I add in my colloidal oats and the essential oil. Actually, yeah. So then I can do a nice little texture in the mold. And then I also have some sugar dissolved in some of the water for the lye solution. I heard that this just helps with nice bubbles because this is 100% coconut oil. Go ahead and add that. Well, it says to add at trace actually, and I don't think I'm quite there yet. Oh, yep. I'm starting to get a very light trace. And it just kind of is disappearing. It stays on top and then it disappears. You probably can't tell. But I'm going to go ahead and add in my sugar water. And then I am supposed to add in the essential oils. Now, I believe I was reading that like eucalyptus and rosemary slows down trace. Now this is a blend, but the recipe I got this from was from Jan Berry's Natural Soap Making, and she said that you can use 1 fluid ounce to like, she gave like a range, like 1 to 1.5 fluid ounce of any essential oil blend, and just put it in this this soap, and that would be okay for the amount of oils I have. So I actually used a little bit less than she recommended because I think it was like 1.2 to like 1.5, and I just went ahead and did 1. Get that blend. Ooh, it smells good, Brian. I can smell the lemon. It makes me actually wish I would have put a little bit more. I hope it survives the saponification process because I'm reading that lemon usually burns off fairly easily. It's hard to get it to stick. Now I wanted to add some milk powder in here, but this is my first time doing a coconut oil soap, so I think I'll save that for next time. Especially since I was adding the colloidal oats and the sugar, I thought I should try like one or two additives at a time, because I don't know how this oil is going to behave and how hot it'll get during saponification, and I definitely didn't want a soap volcano on my hands. Ooh, nice. I'm getting to like a nice medium trace. I kind of want it just slightly thicker. Let me give it a... Yes, and I'm gonna go ahead and add in my oats now. You guys, I got this bag of oats at the Dollar Tree. It came in a box and it had 5 of these packets in there for $1. Probably should have grabbed more, but I didn't know how much I would be using. So I need to add a tablespoon of the oats in there. Ooh, I love this texture. So up until now, I've only made Bastille soap recipes, and they took forever to like come to trace. My hands were hurting, my back was hurting from leaning over the table. It was just so oily, and I never could get like a nice thick consistency. And because again, I'm only like plopping this into the mold, I would prefer to have a little bit of a thicker consistency than thinner. And I like this texture. Let me give it one more stir. Ooh, that's nice. Let's see what the temperature is. We are at 100 degrees. Now, I was reading an article from Kenna at Modern Soap Making, and she said you don't want to insulate your coconut, your 100% coconut soap. So I'm not going to do that. And the mold I'm using today actually came from like a floral arrangement. I can't remember, it was for somebody's party. Maybe it was for our wedding. And you know how people always be stealing the centerpieces and stuff. Now I've had these little boxes forever thinking that I was gonna, you know, plant something in it or put it out in the garden. And then I saw them and I was like, that is a perfect 2.5 pound soap mold. So this makes about 2.5 pounds. Actually, I'm looking at it and I think they're gonna be a little bit short, but then I'll just cut them. I'll probably cut them like this and get little blocks. Yeah, they're definitely not as tall as I thought they would be, Brian. Yeah. me get my alcohol because I always forget to spritz it with alcohol. Now, because I don't know which way I'm gonna cut it, either way, if I cut it like this, I think I'm going to cut them in 1.5 inch blocks, so they're a little bit thicker. And then I'm going to cut this in half. They'll be just little soaps. Let me do. Ooh. This is like my favorite part. And I think for the other side, I am just gonna do a little swirly. So I'm gonna have 2 different sides with 2 different textures. I've got just a little cake pop stick. So I picked up some Christmas sprinkles from Walmart to add some color, just because it's a white soap and I'm gonna be giving these as a gift for Christmas. Here, Brad. They're gonna be little stocking stuffer bars. I think I'm just gonna put it like this, down the middle, huh, Brian?
Yeah, looks good.
And then for the one on the left, I'm just gonna cover the whole top. Oh my God, they look so pretty. Okay, I'm just gonna put it all over both of them because I like it so much. None of this just down the middle. I want to use all of it because I already stuck my fingers all in it. Just a couple of the big ones because it already has quite a bit on it. Great. Brian, they're beautiful. Now I'm gonna spritz it. Whoa, it's leaking. I hope those candy sprinkles don't bleed everywhere. Maybe I should have sprayed it and then candy sprinkled it. I don't know. Oh my gosh. This was a sounding success, Brian. I'd say. So it's at 89 degrees. So I'm gonna go put this in the other room, and we should be back in 6 to 12 hours to cut it because apparently coconut oil gets really hard really fast. I took the soap into my guest bedroom and I put it on the dresser with the ceiling fan on high. I didn't wrap it up, I didn't do anything, and I was like, great, this is awesome. You know, that was an awesome experience. Well, a lot of soapers say to check up on your soap for at least the first hour just to make sure it's not doing anything crazy, right? Well, I get so excited when I'm soaping that I like go in there and I check on my soap more than is necessary. So 10 minutes later, I went in and looked at it and the soap was over 125 degrees. And I didn't record any of this because it like happened so fast and I was freaking out. So the soap was so hot. I picked up the mold and like the whole bottom was just hot because it was insulating against that wooden dresser. So I got another mold, which is tall and skinny, and I placed it on top of there so that air could flow all around it. I turned the fan on even higher. So I opened up all the windows. I was like, okay, cool down, soap. And I walked out again and I walked back in, a couple minutes later, and I noticed that cracks were forming on the top of the soap, and I could see, like I was looking at the soap, and I'll insert some pictures, I could see that the soap was in gel. Like you could see that it was going through gel phase, and I did not want that to happen because I was trying to keep that nice white creamy color of the soap, and because I didn't want my essential oils to burn off. Well, it did it anyways. So I did some quick research, and people say that if your soap starts to overheat, you can put it in the freezer or in the fridge and leave it there. And I think it was Copy Meta said that she did it twice, and the first time she did what I did and noticed that it was overheating, and so when she did it again, she just put it straight in the freezer and it kept her soap from overheating. Well, I read that after I was already having the issue, so I was like, well, shoot. So I grabbed my mold, put it on ice packs in the freezer because the bottom was just so hot. I didn't want it to on the floor of my freezer. So I put it in there and I closed the door. So I was like, well, I'll just go ahead and let it sit in there for 6 hours. Actually, I let it sit in there for 5 hours because I pulled it out and let it thaw for an hour. Well, I had some issues with that. So when I pulled the soap out, I could tell that it was done. It was pulling away from the freezer paper, and it basically slid itself out so easily. It didn't ruin my freezer paper at all. I can reuse it if I wanted to. It's still in the mold. I was like, oh, this is convenient. And so it slid out and I let it sit there and kind of come to room temperature. And then when I went to cut it, wow, I had such a hard time. Like, I could tell that the outside pieces were a little bit softer, but like the middle piece was super hard, and like I had all my edges were ungelled, but the center was gelled, and the tops were not gelled. And so I don't know what I was thinking, but when I went in to cut it, I cut it from like the top of the soap, and I just crumbled my texture and my design, and it was just breaking and crumbling everywhere. And I was like, oh my God, what's happening? So I turned my soap over to the side and I cut it, you know, sideways so that I wouldn't ruin it. But as I'm doing this, the sprinkles are just falling off everywhere. I'm like, why did I even put these on here? Because they're just falling off everywhere. So next time, maybe I'll have to pat them in or something. I don't know if there's like a secret technique to like make sure that your sprinkles stay on. But anyways, they were falling off everywhere. They're still falling off. But whatever, I tried. Next time it'll be better. But yeah, and as I was beveling, it just didn't bevel right, and like the edges, a couple pieces broke really badly. So looking at them, there's a lot of visual imperfections. They're a little rough, and the fragrance, like I said, I'm pretty sure a lot of the notes burned off, but when I smell it, to me, it smells like a peppermint lemon, like lemony peppermint. It's got like that clean vibe to it, but then a lot of peppermint stayed in the fragrance. And my husband says he can smell the rosemary, so maybe like a rosemary peppermint lemon scent is what's coming out. And I think it smells really fresh, and like even just holding the bar of soap in my hands and not washing it, you know, it smells really fresh. So I'm gonna let these hang out for 4 weeks, and then I'll go ahead and test it and see how they do. And I've got, you know, a whole bunch of other videos that I've got planned coming out. On Black Friday, I did make my first purchase of fragrance oils and micas. So I have some soaps planned for Valentine's Day. I've got some soaps planned for the spring, and some soaps planned for the summer. I'm gonna be working my way through that Jan Berry soap making book and just trying her recipes. The next recipes I'm gonna try out are palm-free soap recipes with a couple more oils in it. I'm also gonna be working with some fragrance oils, and I'm gonna try to do some micas and swirling techniques. So if you're just interested in watching me learn and kind of seeing a beginner do stuff for the first time ever, make sure that you like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. Like I said, I am going to be doing some more videos coming out. But if you don't want to keep watching, you know, I'd appreciate it if you just hit the like button and maybe leave me a comment or some words of encouragement. Thank you so much, and have a great day.